Go haunt a house.
How many rooms?
7.
With or without bath?
With a... Go on!
When Shemp Howard passed away suddenly in 1955, the Three Stooges act was thrown into turmoil. Though Moe and Larry had previously replaced Curly, his decline was a gradual one. They were able to turn to previous stooge Shemp, with him rejoining the act effortlessly after being away from the trio for 14 years. This time, however, Shemp's passing was unexpected, and even worse, there were no Howard brothers to turn to. As a result, Moe and Larry spent the remainder of 1955 and most of 1956 essentially performing as a duo, with the studio recycling footage from earlier shorts, as well as using a Shemp double, played by actor Joe Palma, with fans later referring to him as fake Shemp.
Shemp, guard the door.
Columbia, the studio behind the shorts, refused to let Moe and Larry continue as a duo though, and the search was on for a third permanent stooge. While rumors have circulated over the years that Buddy Hackett and Manton Moreland were eyed, there were only 3 comics that were seriously considered. Paul Mousy Garner, who had replaced the original Stooges in Ted Healy's act back in the 30s, Joe Dorita, who Moe and Larry had known from Burlesque, and Joe Besser, a rotund comic currently making his own shorts at Columbia.
Description? Well, he's about 220 pounds. Height? About 5'5" by 5'5". Color of hair? Skin.
Joe Dorita was unable to get out of his current contract, and Moe nixed the idea of hiring Mousy Garner, leaving only one option: Joe Besser.
That's good for you, that's good for you. That's bad for me, wow.
Joe's solo Columbia shorts were very akin to the Stooges' own, and on paper he definitely appeared to have what it takes, holding his own amongst Abbott and Costello on their sitcom as Lou's nemesis Stinky. Besser was even friends with Shemp Howard, acting alongside him in Abbott and Costello's Africa Screams in 1949.
You know, that's a coincidental.
There's been this myth surrounding Joe's tenure as a stooge, in which he angrily demanded not to be hit.
Oh, horse feathers.
Something perpetuated by the 2000 Stooges biopic.
I understand.
Good. We'll pick it up, roll the camera.
But I am not taking a pie in the face.
But in reality, Besser had no problem with being slapped around, or taking a pie to the face.
Well, what do you know? Somebody frame me.
While he did have it written into his contract that he not be hit as much, it was only because he lacked the years of training accrued by Moe and Larry, and didn't want to risk injuring himself or the others by getting involved in the heavier slapstick scenes.
Ooh, ooh. Do that again. Again. You do everything I tell you to.
The 16 shorts Besser made with the Stooges were often rushed remakes of earlier shorts, with the studio repurposing older footage in order to pump out the films quickly and cheaply.
Look, I'm a successful cook! Success!
I'm a successful cork.
Success!
Oh! Oh! Help!
But the handful of original shorts he made with the Stooges are some of the most unique and bizarre outputs from the team. I want to revisit this divisive chapter of the Three Stooges through the eyes of its shortest tenured, frequently forgotten member, Joe Besser.
Come on. Wait there.
Joe Besser was born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1907. He fell in love with movies as a young boy and vowed to work in showbiz. He got his first real job in the entertainment industry in 1922, acting as an assistant to a traveling magician named Thurston, usually acting as a bratty child.
Ow! Ooh, you backbiter, that hurts! Shut up! Not so loud!
After leaving Thurston when he aged out of his role, Joe quickly climbed the ranks of vaudeville, appearing in a variety of touring productions, though he kept up the bratty child persona as he continued to age.
Oh, he broke his hand, he broke his finger, he broke his finger!
As he toured the vaudeville circuit throughout the 30s, he found himself interacting and acting alongside the biggest comedy stars of the day, like Abbott and Costello and Olsen and Johnson. He even met his wife, Ernie, a dancer, while on the road performing. They married in 1932 and stayed together until his death over 50 years later. That same year, Besser actually crossed paths with the Stooges, then known as Ted Healy and his Stooges, when they appeared on the same bill. Of their first meeting, he later said, "The first day of rehearsal, I met Ted and the boys and we became good friends. Believe me, having them around was a laugh a minute."
Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered.
By the mid-30s, Besser had attracted the attention of Hollywood talent scouts. He made his first film appearance in 1938 in a short called Cuckoo Rancho for Columbia. While Columbia didn't rush to sign him at that time, the short led to him getting small parts in features.
You're a squealer. I wish that was your size. Right. I think I'll try it anyway.
Before headlining his own film vehicles, starting in 1944 with an Army comedy called Hey Rookie.
Well, you pushed me.
In 1947, Columbia head Harry Cohn, impressed by Hey Rookie, signed Besser to star in a series of shorts for the studio.
Good night again. Oh.
What happened?
You.
While Columbia is most remembered today for the Three Stooges, they actually pumped out lots of comedy shorts starring popular comics of the era. Watching these shorts now, you can see the similarities to the Stooges' own shorts, as they use many of the same sets, supporting cast members, and sound effects.
Sorry, honey.
Again, you can also see how Joe altered little of his screen character when he joined the Stooges.
Fall in with your squad.
Not so loud.
Get going and wipe your face.
As Joe cranked out these shorts at Columbia, his friend Lou Costello asked if he would like a part in his new film, Africa Screams.
Look, where are you going with the water?
Oh, my tent's on fire!
Also in the cast of that film was a performer Abbott and Costello had met while working at Universal, Shemp Howard.
You missed the lion. I raised the gun to my shoulder, looked through the peep sight, and
Besser spoke very highly of working with Shemp on the movie, and the two rekindled a friendship that had started back in 1932. Impressed with his work on the movie, Lou Costello later called with another offer, asking Besser to join the cast of he and Abbott's new sitcom, The Abbott and Costello Show. Joe's character Stinky was the bratty playmate of Lou, costumed in a little Lord Fauntleroy outfit.
We're gonna be friends forever. Shake hands on him. Shake.
That's all right.
Outside of his work with the Stooges, Stinky is probably Besser's best-known role, and he fits perfectly into the surreal world of the Abbott and Costello Show.
I won't forget you for this. Did I hurt you? This kid's got a lot of strength. Did he hurt me?
Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld later based the character of Newman on Stinky. Though Besser kept busy with appearances on film and TV throughout the 50s, he still continued making shorts at Columbia, which is where he found himself in 1955 when Shemp Howard died suddenly. It was longtime Stooges director Jules White who first met with Joe about joining the Stooges.
Can you imagine Joe winning a prize like that?
No.
Joe, a great admirer of the Three Stooges ever since meeting them in 1932, agreed to join the act, though he had his reservations.
I'm sorry, Joe.
I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry, Joe. Can't you ever say anything like, I'm glad once?
Yeah, so I'm glad I'm sorry once.
That's better.
Columbia bosses suggested that Joe shave his head and try to closely emulate Curly, but he declined. Apparently, Moe and Larry had a lot of faith in Joe, as the three of them never had a formal meeting prior to filming their first short.
That's good for him. That's bad for me.
In his autobiography, he detailed how anxious he felt before they filmed their first short, saying, "Would the public accept me as Shemp's replacement? Would Moe and Larry regret bringing me aboard?" As it turned out, my fears were all washed away after my first day on the job.
Hey, fellas, come back. I got a better idea. Hike!
Oh!
Hello.
Joe's first short, Hoofs and Goofs, is one of the strangest ever made by the Stooges.
Joe! Here! Well, don't just stand there. It's me, Bertie.
In it, the Stooges discover that their late sister Bertie, played by Moe in drag, has been reincarnated as a horse, and the Stooges have to help her give birth.
Good. Good for you.
What happened?
Bertie blew first.
Bertie, you're bad.
That one wouldn't even be the most surreal of these final 16, though. As with Joe, the Stooges would go to outer space not just once, but twice.
Ay, 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 bebop. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay.
Get a load of that rock and roll dialogue.
They must have heard Elvis Presley.
They also made one of their only direct sequels to an earlier short, called Horsing Around, which follows Hoofs and Goofs.
Hey, what's the idea of spreading mashed potatoes on your bread? Why don't you use butter?
That's fattening.
Oh.
I have to give them credit for trying new things at such a late stage in their careers, even if some of them didn't land.
Why, you worm!
Bertie, no salt.
Like their 1958 short Sweet and Hot, where they broke from their typical characters, with Moe playing a German psychiatrist.
Go away, you loafer!
Not so loud.
Spike!
Don't pick on him.
Give it to him, Larry.
Yeah. He gave it to you. Oh,
Outside!
It's so interesting to watch their earlier shorts, which all revolved around simple situations, and now see them battling alien creatures on strange planets.
Oh, charades.
The song title?
At this time, Columbia was the last major studio still producing live-action comedy shorts. As such, they had drastically scaled back that division. These final shorts, made from 1956 to 1957, are considered to be the weakest of the bunch.
See that?
What? Oh, I'm mad. I'm fighting mad.
While Besser has taken his fair share of the blame for this, it's abundantly clear from watching them that the filmmakers were just running out of ideas and resources.
Ay, ay, ay.
Ay, 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 ay.
Who's teaching who?
Of the 16 shorts with Joe, 5 are remakes of earlier ones, recycling as much footage as possible. Audiences at the time may not have been able to spot the older stock footage edited in, but watching in HD today, we can clearly spot these differences, especially when the older footage is from shorts made 10 years prior.
You're accused of assaulting your 2 roommates with intent to commit mayhem.
You mean murder? Yeah, and he tried to kill us, too.
Quiet! You're accused of assaulting your 2 roommates with intent to commit mayhem.
You mean murder? And he also tried to kill us, too.
While this was something Columbia had been doing with the Stooges since around 1937, they got very sloppy with the edits here. Like in this short, Rusty Romeo's, a remake of a Shemp film from 1952, in which older footage of Moe and Larry is used, we can clearly see a photo of Shemp in the background.
Oh, there I am. And as pretty as a picture. Yeah, but Nate.
And then a photo of Joe just moments later in the new footage.
Oh, you sneak.
Cut it out!
In another, Triple Crossed, you can clearly see Shemp in a wide shot dressed as Santa Claus before they quickly cut to Joe in the close-up. Other shorts were remakes of films done by other comedy teams, mostly due to the fact that they shared the same writers, such as A Merry Mix-Up, which was a condensed remake of Laurel and Hardy's feature Our Relations. In it, the boys get into a mix-up with their 2 sets of identical triplets, which at least contains some inspired effects for the time. Though at just 15 minutes, the plot feels incredibly rushed. I bring this up to highlight just how much was stacked against Besser from the start.
I said you're a nitwit imbecile.
Flattery will get you no place.
Why?
Hey, not on the rock.
Remaking older shorts limited how Besser could find his own pacing as a stooge, as he was often forced to recreate bits done by Curly, who was known for his really quick pacing and delivery.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said, oh, shut up.
I do have to give Besser credit for doing his own thing though as much as he could, and not trying to emulate his predecessors.
Well, drop what you're doing and get it.
Okay, if you say so.
He also did something that was rarely done in the Stooges' comedy, breaking the fourth wall. He did bring new ideas to the table as well. It was supposedly him who convinced Moe and Larry to comb back their hair to appear more gentlemanly in their old age. But this was something done sporadically. In some shorts, their hair is combed back, while in later ones they sport their original hairstyles, mostly because this new footage had to be married with older footage from the short they were remaking.
Oh, come on, Joe, that's life.
While the shorts themselves feel rushed and cheap, the Stooges truly made the best out of every one of them, and there are moments of inspired comedy hidden throughout.
You owe me 20. Here's 10, I owe you 10. Here's the 10 I owe you.
Here's the 10 I owe you.
Here's the 10 I owe you. Good, now we're all even.
Shortly after production wrapped on their 190th short, Columbia decided to finally shut down their short subject department at the end of 1957. There were no goodbye parties or thank yous for their 24 years of service. The Stooges were promptly kicked to the curb and out of work for the first time in decades. Their final shorts would be released throughout 1958 and into 1959, with a compilation film released that year theatrically. Moe decided this would be a good opportunity for the Stooges to make some public appearances across the country. While Joe had initially planned to remain with the team, his wife Ernie suffered a minor heart attack in 1958, and he wanted to remain close to her. He left the Stooges amicably, and there were no hard feelings. Moe and Larry then approached Joe DeRita, who was now out of his contract and finally able to join the Three Stooges. It was while making personal appearances on the road that Columbia sold the first ever Three Stooges package to TV syndication, setting up their future film comeback. If you thought their last shorts were bizarre, they are nothing compared to the Stooges movies though. But that's a topic for another video.
Hey, one fool at a time.
Go ahead.
Receive.
After leaving the Stooges, Besser spent his remaining years performing bit parts in film and television, and he later became a very prominent voice actor.
Hey, wait for me, yapple-dapple.
He routinely hosted Three Stooges fans to his home, both young and old, where he spoke very highly of his experience with the team. In 1983, long after Moe and Larry had passed, the Three Stooges were awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. An emotional Joe Besser accepted the honor on their behalf.
And 2 of my years with them was one of the highlights of my career in show business. I love the boys. We had a lot of fun, and I know you had a lot of fun watching it.
He died just 5 years later in 1988 at the age of 80. There has been a lot of misinformation said about Joe Besser over the years that has painted him in a negative light amongst fans of the Stooges. Curly and Shemp were just impossible to replace. Besser knew this though, and I truly feel he did the best that he could with what he had to work with.
There! Ow! Oh, that hurts!
His comedy style was unfairly lost in the rush production of these final shorts, which limited the freedom he had as a Stooge.
Hey, what are you doing?
Well, you told me to grease my pan!
You stoop. Wipe your face.
Those 16 shorts he made with them may not be their best, but that is no fault of Joe. Joe Besser deserves to be remembered more fondly by Stooges fans. He stepped up and became a Stooge to guarantee that Moe and Larry were able to continue working. So next time you watch the Three Stooges, don't be so hard on Joe.
Ow, not so hard! Ow, not so hard! Ooh, copy.